Well, it's almost fall, so it's the time for all of the beautiful foliage to be starting to come out. So we're going to do a simple paper project this week. And we're going to be using various colors of construction paper, and then a off-white piece of construction paper for our background. And then we're going to use this navy piece of paper as kind of a frame for our background. Okay, so I'm going to set that off to the side because we don't need that right away. We also need an eraser and a pencil. And then you may use either a glue stick, or if you want, you can use a bottle of glue. Okay, either one should work fine. So we're going to work on cutting out shapes as well as then making different patterns on our trees. Oh, I forgot to mention, you also need a pair of scissors. Okay, I'll put these over here since I'm left-handed. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a line of trees, but we don't want them to just be like marching across the page. So we want them to be different shapes, and we can have some overlapping each other if we'd like to. And after we cut out our shapes for our trees, we're then going to take a black marker, which I have right over here. You can use either an ultrafine or a fine, a little thicker marker if you want, to draw patterns on our trees. Okay, so I've got squares, rectangles of different colors of paper because I want to make sure that we don't make them too large, right? So you can conserve on paper a little bit by having these already cut out. Okay, so let's take a really interesting, and here's some examples of shapes that I have already cut out just as an example on different shapes. This is about the size that we want them to be. We want them to, some of them to be smaller and some of them to be larger. Okay, and so that we can get some depth going on. So I like to put my background paper up here so that I can work here, okay, with my colored paper, okay? And so we can do some of these trees in the shape of leaves if you want. So we're just going to take our pencil, and then after we draw our shape, we will cut with our scissors. There we go. And we'll put that up here. We're not going to do any gluing until we are done with all of our shapes. Okay. And you can overlap a little bit if you would like, as we're kind of walking our way through. We can put this one up higher if we want to do that. I think you can probably get, maybe, depending on the size, you could probably get about 5 to 6 different trees on here. You might do some smaller ones if you would like. Now, one of the things that you can do if you'd like, you can layer. So what we can do is take, I'm going to move this up here so you can see, is take, for example, this shape, right? And trace around one that you've already cut. And then cut it smaller. So it's the same sort of shape, but just smaller. And then when you're going to put this onto your paper, you can layer it like that, right? So you could do that with any of them. Now I don't have a nice orange, so I think I'll do an orange, and I think I will do just a circle, or doesn't have to be a perfect circle. So the end result of this will be just some fun, kind of folk artish looking trees. So I think what I'm going to do is pull out a different color and do a smaller circle. This might end up looking like a snowman. I don't know. I didn't have a real plan when I started this. I mean, I had some ideas, but I hadn't specifically worked out all the shapes and the colors. But that's okay, because that allows you to just use your creativity in the moment and see what comes out, right? And then I think I will make on the red kind of an oblong shape for the top of this crazy looking tree. Let's see how that looks. That might be kind of fun, particularly when I get some different patterns on there. Okay, now I think I need some smaller trees down here, and let's see, what color do I want to use? I think I'll do a yellow. And do just maybe a small skinny one. I might be making this too difficult to cut. Who knows? If so, I'll try something different. So when you're doing something that has a lot of curves in it, what you first want to do is cut the shape out, get all this excess paper out of the way, because that will impede your progress in cutting. Okay, and then you just want to move your paper more than your scissors, because then you can make these little loop-de-loop things that I've challenged myself with. I don't know, this one might look like I've chewed it up. It might be okay for demonstration purposes, right? Now, as I'm cutting, I'll keep talking. I can tell that my circle here is too big. So I am going to trim that down a bit. It was just like too much of an orange blob. I like that better. Now this one probably needs to be trimmed down a little bit too, just so that it's a little better sized. We want it to be just a little smaller than the orange one. There we go. Okay, that's better. Now I think I need one over here, and I'm going to use my pinkish, and I'm going to do kind of just a small one like that. Like that. Okay. So now the fun begins, where you're going to start kind of moving them around just a little bit like puzzle pieces, and we're going to see how our composition is coming along, and then we're going to start gluing them down. So we want to be generous with our glue, get it out close to the side, and then push it down. If you're using a bottle of glue, don't overdo it with the glue. Put it inside just a little bit because it will squish out. And I also make sure that I'm gluing on the side with my pencil lines so that they will be on the side towards my background. So you just want to get things sort of lined up. Okay, now on this one, you want to glue the yellow on first. And then we're going to put glue on the back of the green. So down the middle. I'm going to put that one up a little bit higher. Again, we want to stagger our heights and our shapes. Okay. And we'll do this one. Again, we have this one down a little bit lower. Okay, so we're going to move this one off here and this here. We're going to do our, sort of like a raindrop, doesn't it? Okay. So you kind of have to remember where you had it. This one I had it overlapping the pink a little bit. And then my funny one over here. There we go. I'm just kind of pondering this just a little bit, just to see what I've got going here. I think I need one more. I've got space. And if I cut it out and put it on there and I don't like how it looks, well, I just won't glue it down. Okay. I like that. That might be more like a shrub. Okay. So that's a pretty good forest of trees. Now, if you see some where you didn't get enough glue, some places, you can go ahead and check that out and glue it. Okay, so let's clean up my area just a little bit. Okay, so now the fun part begins. We're going to start drawing some patterns on top of our trees. Okay, so these are kind of fanciful trees, so they really don't need to be anything that resembles reality at all. And you can use your pencil if you'd like, but you're just going to make some fun designs. I think I'm going to give this little tree like a crown. And then we're going to bring the, like that. And then we're going to make the trunk a little bit thicker. Like that. And I love spirals. So I'm going to do a spiral. Now, if you're brave and you just want to do this directly with your Sharpie, you're absolutely welcome to do that. I'm not that brave. All right, so there we've got patterns. This one, we're going to make the trunk come down just a little bit. And you can make up your own patterns. Definitely don't need to be doing mine. Use your own imagination. Okay, so I'm looking at it again to see what I'm going to make my patterns with the black Sharpie. Now, if you want to do this sorry, I was concentrating there. As you know, sometimes I can't draw and talk at the same time. If you want to do this with pencil first, you may do that. I like spirals, so I'm doing a nice big spiral. And again, we're not going for perfection here. We're going for fun, unusual trees. Again, I've got these dots going here. You can move your paper around. Turn it upside down, whatever is easier for you to get to the spot where you're drawing. And you want to add a little variation to the bottom of your trunks so they don't all look exactly the same. And if you have a little thicker Sharpie, you can color the larger trunks in with that if you would like. A little faster, but you also don't have quite as much control over getting into these if you've got like tight spaces. So this is like a big long triangle. I think I will come back with this one and use a thicker Sharpie with that. So I'll for some reason this one reminds me of a roller coaster. Okay, so all I have to do is finish coloring in my trunks. And it goes, as I said, it goes much faster when you're using a thicker Sharpie when possible. I'm going to go over that a little bit because I've got some white showing. Now, if you want to cut up some little pieces of different colored construction paper that you have left over, you could have and glue them on here. You could have some on the ground. You can even make a pile of them if you want. Depends on how much time you have. Okay, so here are our trees. Now, as I said before, we're going to glue it on a background to kind of give it a frame. So what you want to do is take your glue stick or your glue bottle if you're using that and go all the way around on the outside. And then you want to do some zigzags back and forth. So we'll go through the glue a lot. Okay, and then we're going to flip it over. And we're going to kind of eyeball it to see if, and press down on it just lightly. And I think we've got that pretty squared up on our paper. And there's our finished product. Okay, so if you enjoy this process and you want to make like fall cards for someone, you can have a much smaller, and you can fold it in half and write a message on the inside of it. You could do just one tree. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this technique. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed cutting and pasting and drawing some patterns, and we'll see you for the next lesson. Thank you.